Hey, hi, happy Valentine's Day. It's Cindy. I have a quick little webinar here that I put together on love your dog and ways to help you to have a better relationship with your dog for the coming year. And what better day than Valentine's Day? Hey, Rudy wants to say hi too. What better day than Valentine's Day? And what better relationship do you have in your life than that with your dog? So I have some quick little tips I put together to help you have a wonderful Valentine's Day with your dog. So without further ado, so love your dog. Here are some secrets to a better relationship with your dog in the coming year. So happy Valentine's Day. So a good relationship starts with good communication, and your relationship with your dog is no different. And communication is so important because misunderstandings are very easy, especially with someone from a different species. And let's be honest, dogs, they speak a different language, they come from a different culture, everything is different. So it's very easy. And I wanted to, so I put together a few love tips that I've learned over the year, because I hate to tell you, you're not special. So a dog is for life, and so is learning. I crossed out training because it's not about training. I hate the word training. It's all about learning, you and your dog. And the only constant is change. If you're not changing for the better, you're probably changing for the worse. And it's the same thing with your dog. And these tips work for all ages, all breeds, whether you have a brand new puppy, brand new rescue dog, or honestly, a dog that you've had for years that has just gotten into some bad habits. And I like to use these two pictures because this is obviously the same person. This is when my baby was a baby, and this was actually a few years ago now. This is actually an old photo too. But it's for life. So how to love your dog, Love. So we're going to start with L. And the first, let it go. The first L is just to let it go, Elsa. This is important because we get so caught up in the shoulds and the why nots, and we have to learn acceptance that it just is. Your puppy is never going to be your last dog. Nor should they. You don't want to, nor can you replace that dog that you just lost. Your puppy is not the same individual, and your puppy's a puppy. They're not 14 years old like the dog that you just lost. And they didn't have the same life experiences, and they didn't have the same training. And a puppy has a completely different energy level than a senior dog. So please do not say, why can't my dog be like my last dog? Because they're not. And this triggers me because I grew up hearing, why can't you be like your brother? Well, I'm not. And keep in mind what your dog was bred for. Your terrier is never going to be a herding dog. Your herding dog is never going to be a hound dog. And the energy levels are completely different with a hound dog that are with a terrier. And there's so many other different behaviors and mannerisms that are different with each breed. And please, this is why it's important when you select a breed, make sure that you get one that has the same energy level that you do. If you are not a very high energy person, do not get a herding dog because they are high energy. And just because you had a herding dog 20 years ago, when you were 20 years younger, doesn't mean that maybe that's the same appropriate breed for you. Now, I know that's hard to hear. Don't hate me. But as I get older, I've had to adjust and adapt to different things as my body changes, as much as I hate it. So know what's right for you and know that you're never going to change that breed into another breed, nor should you. And then the other thing is no one is perfect. Not even your dog is perfect. Please just let that go. If you are expecting perfection, you are just setting yourself up for failure and frankly, to be disappointed. So nobody's perfect. I don't care. The most perfect person, they're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And that's why I love the idea of wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is a Japanese concept that embraces beauty in imperfections. And it's about finding the beauty in that chip in the china or that crack in the china, because that means that china has had experiences, that dish has had experiences and is unique. That plate is not the same as another plate. It's that uniqueness that makes us who we are. And again, as I get older and there's more cracks in this face, I try to embrace that's my uniqueness. And that comes with the experience of living. So embrace that uniqueness in your dog. Your dog is not a robot. If you wanted a robot, you should have gotten a stuffed animal or something. So let it go, Elsa. Just let all that go. Now, the second L is for laugh. And yes, I couldn't just stick with one word for each letter. I have two. So the second is laugh. You got to laugh. My grandma Lottie, she used to always say, either you laugh or you cry, it's your choice. And it's so true. You know, you're going to laugh later. So why not just laugh now? And your dog will make mistakes. I guarantee you. I can't guarantee a lot of things in life, but that is one thing I can definitely guarantee. Your dog will make mistakes. And guess what? You're going to make mistakes too. Your timing's going to be off. You're going to use the wrong word. You're going to use the wrong hand sign. You're going to make mistakes too. So laugh. Find the humor in that miscommunication. One of my biggest examples of this is when my little Alex was a toddler. He was about two and a half-ish, I think, because I was pregnant with Harrison. So it was around there. And I had him outside. He loved to draw and paint. So I had this easel for him. And he was painting on the easel, on the paper on the easel. And I had turned around for a minute and I looked back and he's painting one of the dogs, because of course the dogs are all hanging out with him. And so I didn't even think about it. I'm just like, Alex, don't paint Herschel. And I remember the look on Alex's face. He looked at me and he looked at the dogs. And then he started painting the other dog. So I'm like, don't paint Woody either. Don't paint any of the dogs, paint the easel. So again, say what you want, teach what you want. But that taught me a lot. Toddlers have taught me a lot. Let me tell you, people ask me all the time, you know, what's the most challenging breed or species that I've worked with? And hands down, it's a toddler. They're more active than any other dog, and they'll outsmart you, to be sure. So, so find the humor in it. You got to laugh. You got to laugh. And the O is for often. Got to train often, 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 often. Remember, learning does not just happen during a quote unquote training session. Learning is every interaction with your dog. They're learning. So make sure that they are learning what you want them to learn. Very frequently, we play with our dogs in a certain way that actually encourages them to be very reactive. And we encourage the mouthing, we encourage the jumping, we encourage the play biting. And then when we're not playing, we expect them just to know. Well, guess what? They don't just know. So the same rules apply during a play session that apply during life. If you want your dog to get excited, if you want them to jump, put a word to it. You just have to, again, it's about that communication, letting your dog know what you want when you want it. And then integrating the training into your routine so that you're doing it all the time, as often as possible, which is, every interaction that you have. So before you feed them, have them do a come and a sit. Before you pet them, they have to be sitting. Before you give them a toy, make them do 3 or 4 different things, because it's so easy to miscommunicate and reward what we don't want. One of the biggest things I see, one of the biggest complaints I get is, when people bring out the leash, the dogs go crazy and they're jumping all over and sometimes are hurting their owners because they're so exuberant. So what happens when we want to take our dog for a walk is they're jumping up, going crazy, and we sometimes literally wrestle them to the ground to clip the leash on. And then we take them for a walk, which is a huge reward. So we just rewarded the going crazy, So you want to bring the leash out when you have no intentions of going for a walk. And they have to sit nicely for it. They have to say please and thank you. And that's the easiest way to integrate this training into your life and to do it as often as possible. That's when your dog's going to learn. And it's going to enable you to keep it up. And don't just say I love you once and no, okay, they're good for the next 20 years. No, say I love you. You cannot say that enough. And this is true for your dog. This is true for every other species in your life. Tell people that you love them. They don't just know that. I remember growing up, nobody in my family said I love you. It's a sign of weakness. How sad is that, right? I remember my dad, one and only time he ever told me he loved me was when my dog died. And I think he felt really bad for me. So that's why I tell my kids, I love them a million times a day. They're so sick of it, but they know it. They know it. So please don't just say, I love you one time. Please don't just say it on birthdays and Valentine's Day. Say it over and over and over again. And people may not seem like it's that big a deal to them, but it is. Trust me, it is. We all like positive reinforcement. So the next O is obsession. Obsession. It's okay to be obsessed in a good way, especially when it comes to dogs. I think dogs are a good obsession, but I want you to become obsessed with something that you love to do with your dog. And it doesn't matter what that is, as long as it's safe, of course. But, whether it's teaching them stupid pet tricks, doing agility with them, games, play training, scent work, rally, whatever just floats your boat and lights you up, become obsessed with it. Because the more obsessed you are with it, the more you're going to do it, the more you're going to do it. And that's what it comes down to. What do they say? The best exercise is the one you're going to do. And that's the same thing with teaching your dog. So find out what works for you, what works for your dog, and just do it. Okay, so V. Now, the first V here is victimhood. And this is a serious pet peeve of mine. I am not the person to invite to your pity party, okay? You have like 5 minutes to kvetch about what's going on in your life, and then I want to know what you're going to do about it. Okay, what's your plan of action? I just don't want to hear you perseverate on, oh, poor me, this is happening. It's the same thing with your dog. I am not the complaints department, okay? Your dog is not peeing on the carpet to punish you. It may seem that way sometimes, but I assure you it's not. They're not chewing things just to get back at you. I had one lady tell me once that she thought her dog was passive aggressive. It may seem like it sometimes, but really what we're doing is we're projecting our own stuff onto our dogs. Yes, there's a certain amount of jealousy and of course fear and so forth that they have, but make sure that that's what's going on with your dog and not you, and you're not projecting. We do this with our kids too. But whatever the reason that your dog is doing it, don't get stuck on the why. Focus on the how. Again, not the victimhood of, oh, why is the dog doing this to me? He's punishing me. No, he's just being a dog. He just doesn't understand what you want him to do. So again, put away the tissues. I want to know what you're going to do about it. Let's lay out a strategy. Let's lay out a plan to teach him what you want him to do, and even if he is doing it to get your goat, no pun intended, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Okay, that's what I want to focus on, is the solution, not the woe is me. Why does your dog misbehave? Because he's a dog. That's, dogs dig, dogs chew, dogs pee, dogs poop, dogs pull on leash. That's what they do. It's up to us to teach them how they should behave and what they should do when they live with us, how they should walk with us, where they should pee, where they should poop, what they should chew on. That's your responsibility. No victim blaming here on the dog. Okay. So no pity parties, no woe is me. You're stronger and have more power than you think. Which is the next V, is victory. Is I want you to revel in those successes, celebrate your successes. We tend to focus on how far we still have to go rather than how far we've already traveled. And I want you to switch that around. And sometimes it really helps to even make a list, what your dog was doing a month ago that they're not doing now, or maybe what they weren't doing a month ago, they're doing now. However, you need it to be. But focus on the good stuff, not the bad. We always want to focus on those 10 pounds we still have to lose rather than the 100 pounds we've already left or already lost. So I don't want you to get stuck in it's never good enough, it's never enough sort of thinking. It's always good enough. Because it's very law of attraction-y, but if you just focus on what you don't have, then you're going to get more of that. We want to focus on what we already have and how far we've already come. Focus on the good stuff. Rome was not built in a day. And remember, depending on the behavior issue, how long it's going to take to get your dog over it. If they've been having separation anxiety for years, their entire life, 2-3 years, they've been chewing things and crying and becoming frantic in your absence, it's not going to go away in an afternoon. It may take weeks, months to get over it. Some fear issues, and that's the thing about puppyhood and why puppyhood is so important to take advantage of the socialization is, we can never make that up. There's stuff that we can do to help counteract and to rectify it as much as we can, but you can never fully make up for what your dog lost in puppyhood, as far as socialization goes. So be patient. And I think sometimes they come to us because it's our lesson in patience, especially these fearful dogs. But focus on the successes, revel on those successes. Okay, you knew the E's, you knew E was going to be enrichment. I'm all about the enrichment. I am telling you 90 to 99% of behavior issues are because dogs are bored. A bored dog is a naughty dog. A dog that is bored, they're the ones that are ripping up your roses. They're the ones chewing up your shoes. They're the ones trolling your countertops and pulling things off of your counters and pulling down your eyeglasses and all of that. Keep them busy, keep them engaged. And again, see the let it go portion of knowing what kind of dog that you have. If you have a high energy, high intelligent dog, they're not just going to sit around and watch the paint dry. They have to keep something engaging them. Physically, yes, definitely mentally. Okay, that's why I love the self-directed toys. That's why I love the Kongs. Put food in them, make them entertain themselves. We don't want them to get in the habit of when they get bored, always looking to you to entertain them, because that's just not realistic. As much as we want to spend time and engage with the dogs, you need to work, you need to sleep, you need some time with your friends. So give them some ways to keep themselves busy. Take away those food bowls. If you are still feeding in a bowl, you are missing a huge training opportunity. Make them work for it. And that way we're not adding in a lot of fat and calories and blowing out their pancreas while we're training them. Use the meals in training and then stuff the rest in a Kong or another toy. Make them work for it. I hear so much, oh, my dog isn't interested, or he's not food motivated. Well, it's because he can just eat out of a bowl. Why should he work for a living? He's a trust fund puppy. If you go to trust fund, would you work for a living? Probably not. Same thing with your dog. So make him work for everything, because that enrichment, again, if he's busy doing what you want him to do, he's not doing what you don't want him to do. And better yet, if he's asleep, yay, that's doggy nirvana, right? Enrichment, keep him busy. And the second E is education. You knew this one was coming too. Educate, educate, educate. Oh, you cannot have too much information on any subject. And learning is lifelong. Behavior is always changing, never stays the same. So again, find something that's going to fit with your life, that's going to be a sustainable way to reiterate to your dog, this is how you behave. If you slack off, your dog is going to slack off. So, and also we want to teach them these things to provide flexibility. Now, we talk all the time about flexibility. So if your dog gets sick or injured, that your vet can treat them easily and effectively. But also, maybe you're going to get sick or injured. If you have laryngitis or have oral surgery, you can't give them verbal commands. So they need to know the hand signs. Or if you broke an arm or had shoulder surgery or something, you can't give them a hand sign. We just don't know what life is going to bring for you or for your dog. And I work so much with people that, once they move into a new home, the dog has some potty regression issues, new family members, whether they get married or they have a new baby, a lot of issues arise for that, traveling with your dog. So we just want to train and teach them how to behave so that they can easily adapt to whatever life throws at us. So it's keep teaching and keep having fun with it. Again, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Whatever it is, it all should be fun. So if you're not sure where to start with the training, you're not alone. I know it's so confusing out there. There's a million YouTube channels, YouTube trainers, and each one has a different philosophy and their way's the only way. And then there's private training, there's group classes, there's online training, and all have pros and cons to them. So, the privates, they can be expensive and they can be time consuming, and not everybody has the resources for that. Group classes can be very overwhelming for both the dog and the owner. I know many situations where the dog was fine, but the owner it was too much. It was overstimulating for the owner. And in all of those situations, the problem is support. Because I get, whether it's a private or a group class, it's a lot of information to give you. It's a lot to digest and to process. And the success of your training is really just about how well you can employ it on a daily basis. Coming to class once a week is not going to train your dog. It's taking those tools and those techniques home and putting them into practice and making it a habit for you and your dog. So, so that's why I'm switching things up a little bit. I'm utilizing a new format, which is online. I'm embracing technology, God help us. And the new format that I'm trying to use, or that I am using, I have to be positive, that I am using to help with all these issues so that we can meet together as a group, but also privately, where it's in your own home, but it's together. So we have that community and there's other people to support you. And frankly, other people to ask questions that maybe you forgot to ask or didn't know that you needed to ask. And then I can give you the recordings of it. That's the beauty of it, so that you can watch it over and over again as much as you need to, so you always have that information. So with that in mind, I'm introducing my new course called Muttamorphasis. It's the easiest, simplest way to transform your little beastie into your bestie. And I'm utilizing Zoom to basically give you the same information that I give you via a private or a group class, but it's yours forever. It's 12-week immersion. So we would meet once a week on Zoom, live. It's interactive. And I go over different topics for 8 weeks. I was going to do it for 6 weeks, but I had too much information, so I had to make it 8 weeks. And then for an additional 4 weeks, we meet once a week, again, in a group, live via Zoom, where I answer your questions and cover any struggles or any challenges that you've had during the week to keep you on track. So it gives you the support, as a tongue twister, that you need to keep this up, because again, that's where the success or the failure is going to lie. So the next or the first module will be next Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 at 2:00 in the afternoon. I couldn't resist all the twos, for an hour. Basically an hour each week. We'll meet every Tuesday for 8 weeks, actually every Tuesday for 12 weeks. The first 8 weeks are the training. And then the following 4 are support and additional things that may come up during the week. So module 1 is, I call it dog talk. It's all about how to communicate, how to reward, how to reprimand, what's an instructive reprimand, what's an environmental correction, all those different things, how to teach your dog their name, how to teach them good, all those basics, how to communicate. And then module 2, leash walking, we'll go over that. Module 3 is behavior busters. So it's how to solve any behavior issue. It's my 3-step process. And this will work on barking, chewing, digging, you name it. Okay, how to get your dog to stop all that annoying stuff that they do. And then module 4 is the core 4, the 4 core obedience commands: come, sit, down, and stand. Okay, very, very important, those 4. And we'll talk about how to use hand signs, how to use verbal cues, how to keep upping it and taking your dog to the next level, adding in the 3 Ds of dog training to make it more challenging. But those core 4 we'll go over. And module 5 is the sustainability. Say that 10 times fast. How to keep it going for life. Some easy ways to adapt this into your routine. Again, never forget, I'm the laziest trainer in the world. I have some very easy, low-key tips on how to train your dog. Literally sitting on the couch. It's the best. And module 6 is the real world training, how to keep your dog safe and you safe. So this is where we go over the leave it, the off, the take it, handling exercises, stand for an exam, those things that are going to come up in your dog's life, emergency command or emergency come, just to keep them safe. You know, we'll talk about door dashing, all those things. Module 7 is the potty principles. Absolutely how and where to get your dog out to use the facilities. We'll talk about a pee zone, how to put it on cue, how to teach them to signal you, to let you know that they have to go outside to go potty. All the potty basics, everything you need to know about number 1 and number 2. And then module 8 is on separation anxiety. I mean, that's just so prevalent these days. It's always been prevalent. It's always been an issue because dogs are so hardwired. They're pack animals. They want to be with you. And so when they're separated from you, it's a survival instinct. So we'll talk about the separation anxiety, but especially now because, you know, our COVID puppies, people are starting to go back to work, and, you know, these puppies have known nothing else but people being home 24/7. So we'll definitely address that. So the first module is going to be starting again, Tuesday, February 22nd at 2 o'clock. Just remember Tuesday, the 22nd at 2 for about an hour. And so what's the cost? What's your investment? Normal price is going to be $9.97, which honestly, I didn't do the math on this, but I think it's about a third if we did all of this privately or in person. So huge value right there. But if you enroll as a founding member, meaning enroll before that first module starts, you get $300 off of that. So it's only $697. And as a bonus, you'll get lifetime access to the program. So you can log on anytime, forever, as long as we have internet. And I'm planning on making this a course that I do live once a year. So once a year, I'll do this live again, but I will also be adding things to it throughout the year, workbooks, different PDFs, other videos that I do on different topics that I think are important. And, you know, the training is part of it. Yes, it's a huge part, but, you know, the et cetera in dogs, et cetera, is the other stuff that enriches your dog's life. Toys, you know, we talk about toys, other things, massage, nutrition, those other things that add value to your dog's life. So I'll throughout the year be adding in different things like that. But enroll now. And here's a link if you want more information. Go to my website, thedogsetc.com/Muttamorphasis, and there's more information about the modules, more information about the training, how it all works. Enroll there. As soon as you enroll, there's a couple of videos that I have, so you can start training right away. And then you join us live via Zoom every Tuesday for the next 3 months, and we train your dog. If you can't join us live, again, you can always watch the replay. So you can do this at your pace, according to your schedule, and according to your dog. So, of course, if you have questions, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, check more information on my website, thedogsetc.com, Instagram, Facebook. I'm at Sid Scott, CIDSCOTT. I'm using my nickname Sid on everything. First of all, I mean, people call me Sid since I can't even remember. I can't remember how it even started. But my family always calls me Sid. And I guess there's like a really famous jazz singer named Cindy Scott. She has all the stuff, all the domains and everything. So anyway, that's why I use Sid. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. Oh, I can switch back. Hey, there I am. So thanks for hanging out with me. Happy Valentine's Day again. Hope you and your dog or the other loved ones in your life have something fun planned. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Take care now. Bye-bye.